So today I've got my Poulon Pro PR2322 hedge trimmer. I'm going to be working on this today. Essentially, my problem is this thing's about, 8 or 9 years old. It's been working great, but I now have a problem over the last couple of years where when I give it throttle, it kind of bogs. Now I have changed the fuel, and that has giving it fresh fuel and spraying is always a good thing for this machine. The other thing I have done is on a couple of occasions I've removed the carburetor. I've put it in an ultrasonic bath, and I will put a link to that video. If you've got a carburetor that you can totally disassemble and you got like brass jets, that is a fantastic technique. However, the carburetor on this machine is a little simpler. You can't totally disassemble the jets, so although the ultrasonic bath technique has worked a few times, I'm to the point now where 8 or 9 years, I think it's just time to give this thing a new carburetor to get it running better. Again, my big problem is when I give it throttle and it's warmed up, it just kind of bogs, and I want to get it back to that the power that it had when it was newer in, I want to say 2016, 2017. So we're going to work on that today, and let's get to it. The first thing you're going to want to do is dump the fuel, and in my case, my wife is out for dinner, so I can go ahead and use some of the glassware from the kitchen, and I will have this all cleaned up before she even gets home. So I'm going to dump the fuel into a glass container. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to cover that up with some press and seal, again, from the kitchen. The chances of her watching this video are essentially nil, so I'm not too worried. All right, set that aside. Now I'm just going to take this outside. I'm going to run it until it dies, and then essentially the carb will be dry. All right, now that it's essentially empty of fuel, we can go ahead and remove this cover. So we'll just spin off this plastic nut. We can pull that off. Now below that is a very simple air filter, and I recommend you clean these things as you go. And now we are ready to pull that carburetor off. So if I turn this guy around, I've got better access to the two fuel lines down here that I want to wiggle off. And I'm going to do that by hand so that I don't damage those lines. All right, I can't get them off, so I will go get a blunt instrument. So using a small flathead, I don't want to damage these fuel lines, so I'm just very gently pushing them off. There's one, and here's the other one. And this black one, this is usually actually more sensitive, so take your time. There's no rush. All right, I've got both fuel lines off, and I did no damage to them, which was my goal. And next, I just need to spin off these two Allen bolts, and this is a number 4 Allen key. I have to give it a little muscle to get the first tug. There we go. There we go. And now I should be able to spin these off by hand. All right, now remember, you want to keep everything clean, so I'm just going to lay down some paper towel The screw does have a washer attached to it. Let's just pull all that out. So I've got this plastic piece, both bolts, and there is a washer there as well. So let's set that aside. And here we are. There is our little carburetor. Now, before we pull it off, there are 2 Phillips screws that are holding this throttle cable on, so we're going to have to remove those 2. Now, and in my case, a little gasket also fell off the rear, so I'm going to set that aside, but keep track of that. Now, you're going to want to push hard because these 2 Phillips heads, you don't want to strip those. So I'm going to apply some good pressure and then turn them out. And the second one, there we go. Here is the new carburetor I got on Amazon, all nicely packaged. And I will put, again, I will put a link to all of this in the description below. But this is listed as being compatible with the PR2322 Poulon Pro. Let's go ahead and rip this open. See what we've got. All right, so this actually includes a whole bunch of extra accessories that we may or may not need. So here's some fuel line material. Oh, we got a new spark plug. That's nice. And let's get to the business of some fuel filters. Pretty cool. Some extra priming bulbs. All right, this is the adapter that goes into your fuel tank for those lines. Wow, 2 of them. And let's see, here are some gaskets. This does not look like the right size. This might be for a different model. But this is what I'm looking for. And actually, it looks like it actually includes the throttle cable harness. So it's kind of nice. But anyways, let's match this thing up and make sure it is a good part. So it is slightly different in design. But let's see, there you can see, there's where the fuel lines go in. This is the old one again, and this is the new one. So dimensionally, it does look a little different. Looks like it stands a little taller on this end. That may or may not make a difference. We will we'll soon find out. So, but it does look very similar. So we'll go ahead. The holes for the bolts that hold it on look to line up nicely. So we will go ahead, install it, and see how it works. So the new carburetor does come with a throttle assembly, and it is different in design, so I am going to remove this cable. So if I twist this plastic, I can kind of push that wire out. Oh, maybe I want to go that way. There we go. Slide that out. All right, so I've got that disconnected. Now, let's see. Well, let's see if I can leave this on and just remove this piece. So I'm going to unscrew these two Phillips screws and see if I can push it. Don't want to strip anything. There we go. So we're going to take these off. All right, so I'm going to take that screw off. I'm going to take this one out. Now I'm not going to take this black piece off because that is different, but I am going to slide that out. And I just want to see, yeah, it looks pretty darn close. I'm going to go for it. So I'm going to set this piece aside. I'm just going to see if I can slide this guy in. Oh, so the first thing I should do is set that wire in place. There we go. And now I will kind of slide things in. There we go. And it fits. So now I'm just going to drop these screws back in. I reverse it until I hear it catch the threads. I'm just going a little loose until I get the other one in. So I'm pretty impressed with this kit. It comes with a lot of spare parts. There we go. I'm going to get them both snug first. Now I'm going to crank them down. Okay, one. Oh, I don't want to put too much pressure on that bulb. Okay. That is on there. And I am going to actually, let's take a look at this new gasket that it came with. Maybe I should try and use it. What the hell? I'll use it. So I'll lay this across here, like so. Actually, yeah, I should use the new one because the holes are not the same size. So, I don't know if you can see this. I am going to use the new gasket and I'm going to place it on just like that. And just to make sure I line it on properly before I set it in place. Here is the little assembly for the choke. I'm just going to slide that through. Oop. So I got all the bolts slid through. That's lined up properly. The diameter of this gasket matches the new carburetor hole, so intake. So I'm going to use that. All right, so let's get it oriented properly. And now we will make sure that gasket is sitting well. And then we'll slide this in. There we go. Okay. That's on good. All right. That seems to be seated properly. So let's all right, that's going in. I don't want to cross thread it. Oh, got it. All right, so they are threaded. So we'll go ahead and spin these in. Now I am going snug, but you know, there is a metal washer, but this piece of plastic, I want to make sure I don't break it. So I am just gonna go kind of snug. I'm gonna stop right there. Okay. All right, so I have used the new gasket. The carb is connected. Now I'm hooking up these fuel lines. And again, these are soft rubber, so I don't want to break them. So I'm just using pretty gentle pressure. There, that one's on. The lower one's on. Good. So our fuel lines are attached. We've tightened the carburetor and assembly for the choke. Now we just need to set our air filter back on, this simple little piece of foam. Now we just put our cover plate back on, like so. And spin that on. Don't have to go too tight. It's just holding. It's all plastic, so don't crank it. Okay, that's everything. Okay, now we can put our fuel back in. All right, the new carburetor is on. I will put links in the description below to that carburetor, and let's head outside and see how this new carburetor works. That's fantastic. Just what it needed. Hope this has been helpful. You guys have a good day.